Alright, y'all. This is KeymC, guys, and we live on YouTube right now. Hey, make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's KeymC TV Reacts, my main channel. This is my second channel that I post on, but I got a main channel that I post music on. So make sure y'all head over and check that channel out. That's KeymC TV Reacts. Today, guys, we got Florida's perfect neighbor wants to sue kids of woman she killed. I think I seen this on Netflix, but let's go ahead and let's check this out. Well, it was a documentary, I think, on Netflix about this, but let's go ahead, let's check this out, and let's get into it.
But, you know, it's not funny.
I hate her. Leave me her. She's in jail for good.
The Florida woman who gunned down her neighbor through her front door in a dispute over noisy neighborhood kids wants to sue her victim's children for defamation. The subject of Netflix's Perfect Neighbor documentary is standing by her story that a mother of 4 was threatening to kill her as she beat on her door, leaving her no choice but to fire through it. So now, as she sits behind bars for at least the next couple of decades, she is facing a wrongful death lawsuit from the family. And she says she wants to countersue. We're going to break down the lawsuit and what could happen next with the lawyer for the deceased woman's estate. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Obviously, this is a story we wanted to put a spotlight on. It's important to cover, okay? And the reason that we can do that is because of the amazing support that we get from our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. We're talking about America's largest personal injury law firm, a firm with over 1,000 attorneys. They have recovered $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received a shocking turn.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
Susan Lawrence, the woman convicted of killing her neighbor, who insisted that
she killed her neighbor because she felt like they was threatening her. She felt like they was gonna kill her. Let me move myself up just a little bit. Or maybe not. That's good where I'm at.
Shooting was justified, filed a handwritten response to a wrongful death lawsuit. And despite a jury determining that the then 58-year-old committed manslaughter when she fired a pistol through the closed locked door of her apartment, Lawrence continues to claim that she was in fear for her life and had no choice but to shoot. And I'm going to get into that letter in a minute. By the way, some people say Lawrence, some people say Lawrence. We're going to go with Lawrence. Okay, going back to the night of the shooting. This heartbreaking body cam footage from that night, it was the focus of Netflix's The Perfect
Neighbor. I haven't watched this on Netflix yet. I'm going to have to watch it. I haven't watched it.
Documentary, which dominated the streaming services charts for weeks.
Baby, wake up! Wake up! Wake up, baby, wake up! Baby, wake up! Come on! Hey, wake up!
We need to do CPR real quick.
Baby, wake up!
CPR.
Baby, wake up!
Let me see. Do we have any pulse?
So according to multiple witnesses, 35-year-old mother of 4, Ajika A.J. Owens, went over to Lawrence's apartment on June 2nd, 2023. She apparently banged on her door, demanding that Lawrence come out and speak with her, because you see, Lawrence had reportedly taken AJ's son's iPad, even threw a roller skate at him for allegedly trespassing. But instead of speaking with AJ, Lawrence fired one shot through the door, and it hit AJ in the chest, and she died.
Bro, what is wrong with people? That's why I hate having neighbors. I don't even like living in apartments, bro. You don't know what crazy person. You don't know. There's neighbors around you, but you don't know what neighbor is crazy, is throwed off. Like, hell no.
Calls started flooding in that there had been a shooting. Marion County deputies, they were actually already on the way, and that's because Lawrence had called dispatch in the minutes before the shooting, claiming she was in fear for her life because of the kids playing in a field near her house.
I left my iPad over there because we were playing games. I went to get it. I said, give me my iPad to her. She threw the...
If y'all were here when it happened, just stand right here so I know who was out here when it happened, okay?
I left my iPad over there because we were playing games, and I went to go get it. I said, give me my iPad because she had it. She dropped it, tried to throw the skates at me, and I guys. And then I got my brother. He said, come hit me with the skates. And then,
All right, bud. Give me a minute. Just hang out by my car, okay?
She's been doing that. Damn, and the kids was over there. They wasn't even over here.
So when Marion County Sheriff's deputies responded to this chaotic situation, most of them were already familiar with the address. Lorenz had called them about the children playing near her apartment again and again and again.
Well, I mean, as long as they're not on your property, I mean, they can pretty much play wherever they want to play.
And I want you guys to run around, hoot and holler all you can, because I'd rather see you guys outside playing than on them TikToks, all right? Right? So, hoot and holler all you want, but if someone asks you to quiet down.
A person like this lady, she got a trauma, how you say it, like she got trauma somewhere in her childhood and her life. Stuff didn't go right. She racist. That's what I'm getting. You racist. Off the back. If these would have been white kids, you think she would have shot? Like, you think, I don't know. But some people just crazy. Like, it could be like the same race it could be the same race, really. But in this case, I just feel like she racist in a way. In a way she racist.
Bring it down a notch, okay?
At least nicely. She come out here.
For sure.
Hey, you
For sure.
retard, stop yelling.
Yeah, if she starts screaming at you guys, I want you to go tell an adult, okay? I don't want you to antagonize her, okay?
You don't have sole control over the parking lot. There's 4 people here.
Yeah, but those children don't live here. I mean, they literally live across the street on the other side. They don't.
I understand what you're telling me, and I get it, but you don't have sole power to say, hey, they can't be in this parking lot.
She's also the only one that ever calls.
You know what, deputies? They responded to at least 6 calls in relation to this dispute, this feud between Susan Lorenz and AJ in the months before the deadly shooting. And there wasn't much they could do except, take a report, warn the kids not to be too wild. And despite what she might have thought, that grassy area next to Lorenz's apartment was not part of her property, and no trespassing signs and warnings from deputies didn't mean much. Well, several days after
Spark something beautiful. Kate Spade.
It's never been easier to start a podcast than with Riverside. Here's how it works. First, go to Riverside.
AJ died, and after at least 2 interviews with police, Susan Lorenz was arrested and charged with manslaughter with a firearm. She has always maintained that AJ and her children had made threats against her, and this is despite witnesses saying they had never heard anything like that. When she went to trial in 2024, it took a jury only a couple of hours to return with a guilty verdict. The judge sentenced her to spend 25 years behind bars, and she's been locked up ever since.
25 years?! This made me want to end. 25. They only gave her 25 years. Bro, let this would have been the other way around. Did y'all listen to this, bro? 25 years. Oh, hi, chat.
Interviews with police, Susan Lorenz was arrested and charged with manslaughter with a firearm. She has always maintained that AJ and her children had made threats against her, and this is despite witnesses saying they had never heard anything like that. When she went to trial in 2024, it took a jury only a couple of hours to return with a guilty verdict. The judge sentenced her to spend 25 years behind bars, and she's
25 years? They only no. That's just getting me, because if the roles was reversed, if she would have been black, she would have shot a white woman. She would have got life, literally life. She wouldn't have got out. Not no 20. They ain't gonna do not no 25 years. They only gave her 25 years. That don't make sense. That don't make no sense.
Up ever since. But now we got to talk about what just happened, okay? Months after the trial wrapped up, AJ's mom, Pamela Dias, filed a wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of her daughter's estate. Now, the suit wasn't just filed against Susan Lorenz. It names a co-defendant, Charles Gabbard. Who's he? Well, Charles Gabbard was apparently the landlord of the apartments where Lorenz and AJ lived. He told investigators that Susan Lorenz would often complain to him about the children being unruly outside her windows. So she demanded he put up no trespassing signs, which he did at her property line, but he didn't have any say over that grassy area. Now, Pamela laid out what happened to her daughter on that day in 2023 and why she believes Susan Lorenz should pay up as part of the consequences for her actions. When it comes to Gabbard, this is what the complaint had to say, quote, Charles Gabbard had actual or constructive control of the premises and knowledge of the history of erroneous allegations made to the Marion County Sheriff's Office by defendant Susan L. Lorenz against the decedent, Miss Owens, and her children. Moreover, defendant Charles Gabbard knew and or should have known that there was a propensity for gross negligent conduct and or intentional harm by defendant Susan Lorenz, which unreasonably exposed the decedent and her children to an unreasonable dangerous condition on the premises which was likely to cause harm. So Pamela's looking for specific damages, including past and future mental pain and suffering of AJ's children, the expense of medical care at the end of AJ's life, funeral arrangements, loss of AJ's future potential earnings. And now we have to talk about something. We have to talk about the fact that Susan Lorenz has responded to this lawsuit from behind bars. So let me be clear. It's not an attorney doing this, it's her. She is actually physically writing back, and she's not only responding, she is looking to countersue. She sent a handwritten letter to the court laying out her intentions, and in that correspondence, she holds fast to the same assertion she always has, that she had to kill AJ before AJ killed her. The
It's pissing me off. It's pissing me off. I don't even... Bro, I'ma just play it, bro. I'ma just play it.
In response to general allegations, Ajika Owens and her children were trespassing. There were multiple no trespassing signs on the property. Miss Owens did in fact scream, threatened to beat me multiple times while trespassing. Miss Owens was instructed to stay off the property along with her children multiple times by the county sheriff's department. Miss Owens did not knock politely and speak reasonably on June 2nd, 2023. She pounded and screamed profanities like a lunatic. Miss Owens' children had lied to her and stated, I hit her child with a roller skate. During his encounter with the prosecutors, Buxman and Smith, that child recanted that the roller skate hit him and only came near him. Assault and battery charges were dropped. Now, to be clear, none of AJ's children testified during the trial. They did do interviews with police and pretrial depositions with the attorneys. So Lorenz writes, quote, in depositions, all the children told different stories about their location at the time of the shooting. One child was over 60 feet away at the mailboxes. And Lorenz also returned to a story that she's repeated time and time again, that AJ had once thrown a yard sign at her after becoming frustrated over repeated issues with Lorenz. So Lorenz writes, quote, the female juvenile who testified at trial stated she was an eyewitness to Ajika Owens throwing a metal sign and seeing said sign strike me in the leg. I was 7 weeks post-operative for my neck fusion. And Susan Lorenz also referred to another juvenile named Uriel, who provided his recollections to the court, writing, quote, Uriel testified in his depositions that Miss Owens would come onto my sidewalk by the patio and threaten to fight me. He testified she was trying to scare me so that I would stop calling Marion County sheriffs. One child also testified that his brother struck Miss Lorenz with a water bottle in his depositions. I now wish to countersue for slander, libel, and defamation of character for damages in excess of $50,000.
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings or your time for this ad. Hit that skip button, or don't.
And she also indicated that she wanted to sue the landlord, Charles Gabbard, as well, for, quote, not securing the property correctly and allowing Miss Owens and her children for harassment, physical threats of harm, and mental duress. Now, okay, so right now I'm joined by Anthony Thomas, who is the lawyer for AJ Owens' estate. Anthony, thank you so much for coming on. First up, What did you make of this handwritten response from Miss Lawrence?
Well, she responded. I'm glad she responded. You know, sometimes when you have pro se litigants, it's kind of difficult to sort of get them engaged the proper way. I received that particular letter in the mail to my office before it was even something that went to the courts. And so once I was able to understand that, you know, she had also mailed it to the court, I'm glad that the judge was, you know, able to make sure that that document was entered in as a pleading on her behalf. You know, now we can engage in litigation and we can continue the case. That now that she's responded, we can move on. We're now at the discovery phase of litigation, where I'm allowed to, you know, take Susan's deposition, take, you know, the landlord's deposition, all parties involved, witnesses and things like that. So I'm happy to have litigation moving, pretty much.
And her response, which was both on the defensive and the offensive, right? She's intending to file her own lawsuit. Thoughts on that, and how do you plan to address that?
Well,
how's she gonna file her own lawsuit? Like, how's she gonna file a lawsuit, lady? You're in jail for the next 25 years. Matter of fact, I think they should have gave you 50 years. Off the back, they should have gave you life. You shouldn't be able to get out. They shouldn't be able to get out. If the roles was, like I said, if the roles was reversed, she wouldn't have got no 25. If that would have been a black woman, sorry to talk about race right here, but if that would have been a black woman, come on, 25 years? Psh, kiss that goodbye. It would have been life with the chair. With the electric chair, however you want, whatever they use to knock you off. You wouldn't have got out, bro. Talking about 25 years. Shot that woman for no reason. For no reason.
My thoughts are, you know, I hope that if Susan, you know, wants to, you know, take advantage of whatever defenses she has in this situation, that she's able to articulate it well. You know, if she needs to get an attorney to do that for her, I wish her luck with that. But as it relates to, you know, what she's claiming in this letter to the judge, you know, I don't really, you know, want to comment on that, other than the fact that, you know, it's given me some insight as to, you know, how she's thinking about this case.
So you're limited in what you can actually say, since it's ongoing litigation.
Yeah. So I have some evidence. You know, we've you know, shared some discovery at this point with the landlord's attorney, and so what I don't want to do is just compromise the integrity of that evidence for the sake of you know commenting on what Susan, you know, has in her mind. Pretty much what I've had the conversation with my client about was the merits of this case. You know, if Susan is entitled to her defenses, cool. You know, I'm okay with her being able to articulate those, but I pretty much think that this case is going to be tried on its merits. And, you know, I think that the family has the better claim here.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about the wrongful death lawsuit? I mentioned it before. I was talking about it. Why does the family feel the need for this, and why also, what is the expectation at this point about what they believe they can actually recover?
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words?
Well, I've been, you know, asked or hired to investigate negligence in this situation. We've had the criminal case play out where Susan was convicted. And so that's the criminal side. Now, to make sure that she has been prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, that includes civil litigation. She should be able to answer for, you know, her wrongdoings, criminal and in the civil sense. So we have a degree of...
My thing is, y'all, I just don't feel like they should let her off, like let her out at all. Not even in 25 years. Because from my point of view, she done already killed the mom. Like they said, the lady got the what's her name? AJ. She got like 4 kids. She got 4 kids. If she gets out anytime soon, she's still gonna harass them kids. And I feel like if she get the opportunity, she'll try to kill them too. That's how gone she is. If she's trying to sue the kids, you know it for a fact. If she get out, she's still gonna harass those kids. I don't feel like she should never get out. I don't care if she's gonna be 99 years old. She should never get out. She's gone. Like, she feel like those kids are a threat. Ain't nobody threatening you. Like, it's crazy.
It's the theory of what we think, that negligence is on Susan's part, as well as her former landlord, Charles Gabbard. And so we've pursued the lawsuit based on that. We've made a short, plain statement according to the rules of pleadings here in a lawsuit situation. And we just want the evidence to be played out and the case to be tried on its merits. So again, like I am in a place that will allow us to move litigation forward in a sense. And so I just want the evidence to play out. And once it does, I'll be able to have a better conversation with you about that.
Sure. And just to be clear, you have received a response from Charles Gabbard's side. I mean, I know you can't talk about the content of it, but you have received some sort of response.
So this information is pretty much public. The clerk of court's website for Marion County has, all that stuff available. So yes, I've received an answer from Charles Gabbard's attorney. We've made some progress with the discovery, and we've exchanged some information. And so hopefully with the discovery phase of litigation, we can get forward more information. We'll eventually take depositions. I'm interested in taking Susan Lawrence's deposition, Charles Gabbard's deposition, of course, because
how old is she? I'm sorry for pausing. How old is she? They only gave her 25 years. I need to know how old this lady is.
Defendants of the case. There are some other witnesses who I'm interested in getting their deposition testimony as well. So we'll let the facts be where they are, but I'm definitely excited about being able to move this case forward because, like I said before, when you have pro se litigants, sometimes that progress of discovery can be stifled.
Yeah, no, I understand. How's the family doing at this point?
About as good as they can. The holidays are always hard, especially with loss of someone who was the center of their life. These are 4 babies, no mom, and they have to endure the holidays without her. And it's an everyday.
That's fucking sad, bro. This making me sad.
Ongoing situation. Each child has their own personality, their own relationship with their mom. And, Pamela Diaz, the grandmother, is really just trying to hold the family together. So it's rough. It's a day by day kind of process. Every day isn't good. Every day isn't bad. But, they're doing the best that they can.
And the attention around the world from this Netflix documentary, how has that affected them?
It's really interesting because what you have is the grandmother, Pamela Diaz, really, really trying to protect her grandchildren from all the things that go on. I mean, the oldest is a teenager now. So, of course, he may be exposed to social media. He may see things. And so what she's really focused on is trying to protect these kids from the negative attention, that kind of thing. She wants to promote positivity within her family unit. And so it's hard when there's so much attention out there. Everybody has an opinion about what's going on in the Netflix film and comments about that. And so from the perspective of the grandmother here, she's really just trying to protect these kids, keep a shield of protection around them so then they don't get exposed to the negative attention.
Do you know if they objected to it being produced? Do you know if they objected to this being published and, this story being told in that way?
I have no understanding of any objection at all that was made with regards to the production of the documentary, no.
Okay. Anthony, again, I know you're limited in what you can say about the litigation. Is there anything else you can tell us about, what we should be looking out for, what we can expect, what might be going on here?
One bag, infinite possibilities. Kate Spade.
Anything else you might be able to share at this point?
My job, of course, is civil litigation. Right. I really want to be able to articulate the damages and what these kids have gone through. Certainly their relationship with their mom or the loss of their mom, having to deal with that is something that is the most critical part of their life. That is the ultimate damage. Like I couldn't imagine being 4 years old or, 9 years old, 13 years old without my mom. And so the process of dealing with that is definitely one of the most important things that I want to be able to articulate and share with the public. Like, these are children. Their stress, their pain, their suffering, their aggravation is ongoing. It's not fixable with, any amount of money that can be pulled from civil litigation.
Bro, ain't nothing like your mama. Like, nothing is in this world is like your mother. Nothing in this world is like your own mom. Women not crazy women, throwed off women, but women that's in their right mind, taking care of their kids, taking care of home, putting food on the table. They keep I'm gonna say those women keep the world turning. Nobody has a love like a mom has a love, bro. For them kids to lose their mom at such a young age is sad, and just looking at her pictures just make me want to cry.
It's not fixable from any amount of punishment given to Susan Lawrence. It's not fixable in the sense that, any amount of counseling with these kids can sort of help them adjust to what they may be going through. I don't live with them every day. I hear their stories. Their grandmother does her best to try to make sure that I understand their damages, because I have to articulate those in a courtroom someday. But it's an ongoing sort of situation. And these kids are, like I said, it's hard. It's very hard. These kids are going through a very rough time in their life. And I'm not sure when there's going to be some closure. We try. Of course, with the conviction of Susan Lawrence, there is one door closed in that chapter. Hopefully we can close another door with the civil litigation so they can put this behind them, and then, at some point the attention may taper off. At some point the media may move on to the next situation or something that's out in the public, and so much attention won't be brought on these children where they don't have to live with, all of the negative, influences.
It's horrible. It's horrible when you think about how traumatic it is to lose a parent at a young age, but in that way, and in a way that now there was a trial, it was public, there is this Netflix movie, it's being talked about. Our hearts, our prayers are going to them. I can only imagine how difficult this is. And you know what else I was going to ask you? I know it's still early in the litigation, but potentially they could be called as witnesses, right, and have to testify at a civil trial?
Yeah, they can be. A lot of times the judge will, have say-so in, the testimony of minors. It's really something that is possible. It was.
Hey, listen, y'all, I got something spicy for us to watch next, so make sure y'all stay tuned.
Possible in the criminal case, but of course you didn't hear any testimony from A.J. Owens' children during that trial, and Susan was still convicted. So, I think for the most part, if a jury can convict Susan of, her heinous acts without any insight from the children, I think the evidence is clear in a civil sense.
But Susan could potentially call them as her own witnesses, right?
Yeah, she does have that ability to call them as witnesses. We will see. I think that you've seen the law enforcement footage. Like there's one particular case or situation at the time of the shooting where you have AJ's child being present. Seeing his mother, pass away. Like, okay, well, that's definitely an issue where that child can be able to articulate what he was going through at the time. That's a damage. So if Susan wants to explore that, then we'll figure out, what steps we need to take to see if that evidence is, can be, presented in court. Ultimately, we all understand that this is a situation that never should have happened at all. And so when we think about things like that, we go into, okay, well, who's responsible? Is it Susan? Is it law enforcement? You know, we've made no claim against law.
And then like on the cops and like okay, you can call the cops 10 times a day. All the cops gonna do, if somebody call the cops, if they got a crazy person that keeps calling the cops 10 times a day, all the cops gonna do is show up. That's it. All they gonna do is show up, talk, leave. They call them again. They gonna do the same thing. Come, like, show up, pop up, talk, leave. They gonna keep leaving. They gonna leave 10 times. You can call them. The crazy person gonna keep calling 10 times a day. They not gonna do nothing until something like this happens. Then that's when they want to do something. Always happens like that. You like, it takes somebody to die for them to like, okay, let's get on this. But like, damn woman, the lady is crazy. We know that. But like I said, like I just made sense. Like, the cops can come 10 times a day. They ain't finna do not a jizzat. Nothing. They're not gonna do nothing. What they gonna do? All they gonna do is talk to the lady. Tell the lady, we need you to calm down. It's gonna be alright. You need to go back inside. These kids are involved. They're gonna just keep on saying the same stuff. They're not gonna do anything until somebody is deceased. And that's the sad part. Cops don't do anything. My generator just got stolen. They ain't do nothing about that. They got all the information about who stole the generator, this, and that. They haven't did anything. Now, if it would have been the other... Now, if it gets, gets real bad, now it's, it takes a killing for them to start doing stuff. Always.
Is it the landlord, Charles Gabbard? We think he has some liability. That's why he's named in the lawsuit. So that's hopefully, like I said, the evidence can play out no matter who or what information is brought out. We're able to make sure that this case is tried on its merits.
I want you to stay in touch with us as this progresses, because obviously this is not the end of the story. There is a lot more. We will see if we hear more from Susan Lorenz from prison as this progresses, whether or not she'll retain counsel, whether she'll fight back or not. But again, I go back to something I said before, just on behalf of all of us, our hearts, our prayers, our thoughts are with the family. I know this is a tremendously difficult time. It may only get more difficult. But Anthony Thomas, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate your attention on this case. Thank you so much.
And that's all.
Hey, make sure y'all stay tuned for more videos. Anything y'all want to see on the channel, comment down below. We done with that video. Let's get on to the next one, bro.